welcome everybody to the session. I hope all of you can see and hear me clearly. This is, if you notice, this is a continuation of a series of lectures, a series of sessions where we discuss how do we handle RCs or reading comprehension passages. I have already taken two sessions, one yesterday and one day before yesterday. Today is the third one, and if you remember in the previous two sessions, I had taken up approaches as to how do we handle different types of questions, how do we tackle these questions. So today I will in fact do a quick I'll do a quick approach as to how do you handle different types of questions, and my focus today will be on actual CAT questions from reading comprehension which have come in the recent past. So CAT 2017 and 18 is what we will take up today. If time permits, we will do two sessions, two passages. Otherwise, we will limit it to one. Let's see. So Yash, good evening. I hope all of you can see and hear me clearly. So before we begin with anything else, let's also quickly go through how do we deal with some prominent types of questions. A very prominent type of question that comes in the exam as far as RC is concerned is main idea question. What is main idea question? Main idea question is a question which deals with the overall passage, right? So it's a regular feature of the exam, right? And there is something which comes quite often, right? It can be challenging. It can be challenging because the answer to this question cannot be found exactly in the passage. You will have to remember, you will have to understand what was the passage about. You should be able to present the essence of the passage, and of course look at the answer options and eliminate the ones which are not close to the essence. And the good thing about these type of questions are that at most you can come across one question per passage. Main idea is about the overall passage, so it's about what is the whole thing about, what is the primary purpose, what is the title. Now you cannot ask, or it is rather not asked more than once, because if it is asked twice, it becomes very easy. If you get the first one correct, it's going to be more or less similar. So what should we do to handle these type of questions? Approaches, strategies. You should understand the difference between theme and scope, right? So theme and scope, what is the difference between theme and scope? Let's take it up and understand. Scope is nothing else but what is covered, what is not covered. Theme is the overall idea. If I take an example, today's session that we're taking up is about reading comprehension. That's the general theme. But the scope is limited to questions which have come in the past in actual CAT exams. We are not discussing IFT RCs. We are discussing CAT RCs which have come in the past. Of course, CAT past year questions. So we should know specifically what is covered, what is not covered. So that's the difference between theme and scope, right? So eliminate the options. It goes without saying. Any option which goes beyond the scope or which is less than the scope will be easy to eliminate. For example, in today's session, if somebody says today's session is about reading comprehension in GMAT, it is not the scope. The scope is reading comprehension passages from actual CAT exams, right? And focus should be on the main point, not how much space is dedicated, in the sense that when I speak about the focus, the idea is like it could be merely mentioned in the first two paragraphs, or it could be repeated at most in the last paragraph. So do not worry too much about the space covered. Focus on what is the passage all about, right? And the clue is generally found in the first and the last paragraph. If not exactly the first and the last, it is found generally in the beginning or the ending, right? And another type of question that we generally come across in CAT is in inference or indirect questions. They are very regularly asked, and majority of the questions belong to this, right? In inference or indirect, in the sense that the answer will not be given directly, it will be somewhere indicated, right? So what should we do? The first thing is refer to the relevant part if there is any, right? Refer to the relevant part. It will help you zero in on, it will help you remove the confusion, right? So it will increase your accuracy if required. Referring to the relevant part does not mean reading the passage again. Now, when we attempt the passages, when we attempt the questions, I will show you what exactly is this. Next thing is watch out for distractors. What are distractors? If you come across an answer option which is partially correct, it cannot be the answer. If there is anything wrong with the answer option, it will have to be eliminated. right? And the correct answer should be a logical answer to the question as well as correct as per the passage. What does it mean? I mean, it should be, suppose the question is, what is your name? And if you reply, I am an engineer. The answer to the question is, in fact, I am an engineer, might be factually correct. But is that the logical answer to the question, what's your name? No. So you should actually, the correct answer option should be logically addressing the issues raised in the questions, and it should also be something which is correct as per the passage, right? So let's do one thing uh, without taking up too much of a discussion. Let's look at a passage. This is from CAT 2017 or 18, I'm not really sure. So there are 3 slides, and this is the first question, right? So the passage makes all of the following claims except, so something which is about the overall, it's about something which is there in the passage indirectly or directly. So referring to relevant variable part will be definitely required, right? And overall argument is the main theme, right? Third question is, which of the following is most likely to address the problem of elephant aggression? So again, it would be related to a specific point. If not directly, would be related to that. Next question, the fabric of elephant society has effectively been so. Again, it is with reference to a specific expression only. So we should be able to handle it, right? Okay, let's look at one more thing. The next question is, why does he use the word violence? So we have come across 5 questions so far. Roughly, this is what we should do. Before attempting the passage, we should quickly understand, okay, what all is asked, and we should basically, try to address it that way. So this is the passage. There are 3 slides. I will show them to you, and I hope it is not interfering in the sense that it is not, uh, all of you can see. I hope my image is not superimposed on the passage. If it is, let me quickly, I hope all of you can read it carefully. All of you can read it clearly. If not, I will disappear from the scene for some time, right? And then let's see. Now you can see the screen without my image superimposed on it. You can still hear me. I will reappear after some time, right? So read the passage. This should take you probably around 30 seconds maximum. So good evening to Abhinav and Sumant. Uh, it's been quite some time since anybody responded from the app. Yash I hope you're still there. Let's see. Once you are through with the slide, I will change it, and I know that you will not be able to see me. That is because I have actually, I took away my image from the screen because it was superimposing the passage. Once you are through with it, I will, come back to it. Don't worry. Right, so this is the first passage, and some of you who just joined now, do not be surprised. You will not be able to see me because I have taken away my own image so that it does not superimpose on the passage which you are reading. And I'll give you 30 seconds more to read this. Okay, you are through, I think. The next slide is this. I hope all of you are reading it. So those of you who just joined now, do not be surprised. You will not be able to see me for some time because the passage is big. I would not want to superimpose my image on the screen, right? So you should read it carefully. Once we come to the questions, I will reappear again and we will discuss it that way, right? Everybody has read it, I hope. The second slide. And as I was telling you, this is CAT 2017, yeah, 18, I'm not exactly able to recall, but it is one of the actual CAT questions, right? And the difficulty level that has been coming in CAT is more or less a little bit like this. It could be a little bit more, could be less, right? So, but that is more or less like this. This is the last slide. Sumant, you can ask. You do not have to ask for permission to ask any question. Just have to ask if you want, right? So, what is your doubt? Just have to ask. Don't worry. While others are reading, I'll try to handle your query. The only thing is, you will not be able to see me because I will reappear in the next slide. Do not worry. But if you want your questions, if you want your doubt addressed now, you should ask me now. Right, Sumant wanted to ask a question. I am waiting for your question. Sumant, if you can ask it, no problem. Right, now I think everybody has read it. Let me show you the question. Now it is time for me to come back. I will reappear just to, to be more involved in the passage, right? To be more involved in the discussion. So this is the first question. The passage makes all of the following claims except, meaning we are supposed to find out which is not true or which is against what the passage says, right? So four options are there. If everybody present can quickly point out, your answers, it would be very interesting. If you do not respond, I will definitely explain the answer and move ahead, but that is something which will not make much of a difference as far as your understanding and your knowledge goes, right? So it would help if you respond. So the passage makes all of the following claims except. So Sumant wanted to ask a question some time ago. I am yet to see your question. Right. So the passage makes all of the following claims except. Let's see what is the answer. Now, let's start from the fourth option. Elephants establish extended and enduring familial relationships as do humans. This is something which you can very clearly see in the passage if you want, right? I will show you that part, right? So if you notice, right, they are profoundly social creatures. They are raised within an extended multi-layered network of doting female. So if you look at this whole thing, this is where the paragraph, this is where option 4 is claimed. So this cannot be the clear answer, right? So Sumant, okay, your question is, every day you thought that if you devote 2 hours to reading newspapers, right, not able to start. Dekho, newspapers, you do not need to devote 2 hours, probably 45 minutes to 1 hour. Make it right in the beginning of the day, right in the morning, right? If you can read it along, along your breakfast, right? And to be more, to be very blunt, you can also read it in the washroom, right? So do not wait for something to that, right? Okay, so Gautam thinks the answer is 2. Okay, now except we have to look at something which is correct except. So Kashwish Omani thinks the answer is A. A is the answer. Why? Dekho, elephant mothers are evolving newer ways of, are they evolving to the threats? The threats are their families are killed right in front of them. They suffer from traumatic stress. They are cut away from from their society. This is the threat. Because of this threat, they are not able to cope with it and they become more aggressive. Now, if you look at option one says they have actually adjusted with it, and they have changed themselves and they are able to cope with the pressure. That is against what the passage says. So the best answer is A, or 1. So, Kashmir Shomani, you are correct here, right? Now, every other option is clearly wrong. The elephant response is similar. Yes, it is similar, right? Because that's exactly what the author claims also. So he wants us to, there was a suggestion that we should actually, be able to make the most of studying both the species, how they respond, and it will help us, deal with the problem much better. Right. So best answer is 1. Everybody is clear with this, I hope. Let's look at the next question. Which of the following best statements best express the overall argument of the passage? So look at the overall theme. And as I was telling you, the answer to this question is something which you can, the clue to this answer is something which you can find, somewhere in the passage, the beginning of the passage. And if you like the session, just hit click on the right on the like button and subscribe to the channel. All of you, in any case, what I'm trying to point out is the fact that if you enjoy the session, if you feel it benefits you, it should be basically made known to as many people as possible. Again, for example, tomorrow we will have another session like this where we discuss actual questions from CAT, right? So it should actually reach out and help as many people. Okay, Sumant. Okay, for me, I didn't even understand the passage clearly. Sumant, probably if you do not understand the passage, there could be multiple reasons, right? One reason could be that you are reading on a screen. One reason is this. One reason could be that. Another reason is you are not able to probably focus. There are multiple factors, but the idea is we have to get used to this. Now, draw some, comfort from the fact that the passage did not contain something very difficult. It was all in terms of, simple passages which we could have, done, right? So, Rameshwar, good evening. So far, nobody has responded to the second question. What is the overall argument? Let's look at the options one by one and see. First, recent elephant behavior could be understood as a form of species-wide trauma-related response. Okay, it is very possible, right? It covers a part of the passage, but then does it cover the part where the author says this is something which has actually affected the relation between humans and elephants? No. So slightly something is left. Eliminate this, right? Okay, now look at 2. Okay, Suman Kumar thinks the answer is 2. Elephants, like humans, right, or like the humans, they are in conflict, are profoundly social. Okay, social, fine, but does it tell you the root cause of the problem? The root cause of the problem is that elephants, they suffer from post-traumatic stress, and the response which they give to this post-traumatic stress is very similar to what humans give. Now, it is not covered when we look at 2. So the best answer is 1. The relationship between, best answer is 3. The relationship between humans and elephants and humans has changed from one of coexistence to one of hostility. And when the moment you say this, the various causes are in fact implied, right? And to give you a very simple idea, this is what it says in the beginning of the passage, right? In the beginning. If you want, I will show you, right? This is what he says in the beginning. Everything else comes later on, right? If you notice, so till here, this is what he says, right? This is more or less the third passage, third paragraph. Everybody is clear? So the best answer to this question is the third option. All clear, I think. Okay, sorry. 1 second. Let me revise my answer. Right, let me revise the answer here. Okay, the problem with, okay, 2 we can eliminate, 4 also we can eliminate, right? Within 1, I'm changing my answer because I was not able to see the screen properly because of some disturbance, right? So the best answer, if you notice, 3 is something which is yes in the beginning, but the better answer is 1, right? He mentions this only, but the cause of the problem is not mentioned here, right? So recent behavior could be understood as a form of species-wise trauma-related response. This covers the biggest response. So question number 2, the best answer is 1. Hope everything is clear. Let's move on to the next question. Which of the following is Bradshaw most likely to support to address the problem of elephant aggression? So, okay, Rameshwar, yes, I was telling you the best answer to this question is option 1, right? I marked 3, I mean in the previous attempt, because I could not see the screen properly. There was a slight issue, right? Anyway, so the better answer to this question is 2, right? Moving on, what is the next? Which of the following measures is Bradshaw most likely to support to address the problem of elephant aggression? Right. So what is the cause of the elephant aggression, first of all? The cause of the elephant aggression is the kind of stress, the kind of trauma that they are subjected to in childhood. Because of this, the response, their behavior becomes altered and they become more, aggressive. So what will solve this problem? Right. If you notice, let's eliminate this option and see, eliminate all the options which are, related here. Okay, the effect of testosterone. The effect of testosterone is basically testosterone is first of all not the cause of the problem. So if we are not addressing the cause of the problem, it is not going to address the problem. Look at 2, the development of treatment programs for elephants gain from treating post-traumatic. This is something which is very likely to be the answer, right? Because he says that the same thing is what we see in human beings. So if you treat elephants the way we treat human beings who have gone through post-traumatic stress, it can help elephants. So 2 is very likely to be the answer. What about 3? Studying the impact of isolating. The cause is not just isolation. The cause is also, post-traumatic stress. So we can eliminate 3 also. What about 4? Right. So, okay, Suman Kumar, 3 nahi hona chahiye. 3, isolation is not the cause. The cause is the stress that they have to go through. Right. Look at 4. Okay, now increasing funding for research into the similarity. It is not just the similarity that is the cause. The cause is something which is like the post-traumatic stress, and because of which the behavior is altered. And the best answer to this question therefore now is 2. I hope everybody is clear. So Swarna, correct, the answer is 2. Everybody got the point, I hope, right? Okay, let's look at the next question. In paragraph 4, the phrase "the fabric of elephant society" has effectively been framed as. Now, this question can be simply answered without even reading the passage. Just you have to, this is based on this expression. The phrase "the fabric has been framed" is, right? Now, look at the best option, right? The meaning of an ode is like a tribute. Is it exactly a tribute? Too far-fetched to say it is a tribute. Okay. Exaggeration, no, it is not an exaggeration. It presents it very properly, right? Now, the best option is 2 here. I hope all of you are able to understand. All of you can see this, right? The best option is 2, a metaphor for the effect of human activity on elephant communities. Where is the metaphor? Fabric means cloth, and frayed. What is frayed? Fraying is, tearing of cloth or cloth-like material, could be rope also, because of wear and tear. So you are comparing elephant society to a delicate fabric, and it has been broken, it has been torn because of wear and tear. The wear and tear is caused by the impact of the human beings, right? So everybody is clear with this, I hope. The best answer to this question is 2. All clear, I hope. Everybody is clear, I hope. Right. So very few responses. I hope all of you are able to, understand what the passage is all about. Right. All of you, I hope, are reading it. Let's try the last question. The last question is this. In the first paragraph, Bradshaw uses the term violence to describe the recent change in human-elephant relationship, because according to him, right. Okay. So this is related to a specific part. Bradshaw uses the term violence, right? He uses the term violence. Why? The question is, why does he use the term violence to describe human-elephant relationship, right? Now, this is something which you will find right in the beginning. If you want, you can refer to it. If you refer to it, the answer can be found very easily. But for the sake of answering it, first try to answer it without reading or without looking at the passage. Let's see, try to first answer the question. Once you are unable, of course, if you do not remember, you have all the options, you have all the choice, you can definitely refer to the part which is relevant. The question is, why does he use the term violence to describe the relation between elephants and humans, especially the recent change? Right. Do you want me to show you the relevant part? Okay, let me show you the relevant part. Let me just show you the relevant part. Okay, right. The part is, look at this. Right. I use the term violence because of the intentionality associated with it. The key word is this. Question asked was, why does he use the term violence? Right. And the answer is very clearly given here, because of intentionality. Intentionality means janbujh ke, right? It is not by accident, you do it out of intention. So what should be the answer? In the first paragraph, Bradshaw uses the term violence to describe the recent change in the human relationship. So Sumant, Kumar and Kashvi think the answer is 2. Right. If you remember, when we refer to that part, the key, because of intentionality. Now tell me the answer. The key to the answer was this word which we just read in the first passage, in the first paragraph, right? So why does the author use the term violence? Because of the intentionality associated. What is intentionality? Done janbujh ke, done on purpose, not by accident. What is the answer? If you now, this is the advantage of referring to the relevant part, right? If you refer to the relevant part, I will show you the part again. I'll just show you the part again just to make it very clear. So I use the term violence because of the intentionality associated with it. So intentionality is nothing else but purposefulness. So the answer is this very clearly. Right. Now, many of us might not be able to answer it without reading the part. Right. I hope all of you are getting the point. The question asked is, why does he use the word violence? He tells it very clearly in the passage. He uses the term violence because of the intentionality. So that's what I was telling you right in the beginning. If there is something which can be answered by referring to the paragraph, by referring to the passage, you can definitely do so. Uh, you know, it will definitely help you increase the accuracy. So out of 5 questions, at least 2 questions could be answered like this. If you remember, the previous question also was about just 1 line. So this is, these are the basic minimum that you have to do, right? So everybody who marked 1 got the answer correct. Right now, let me quickly confirm from all of you. I have one more passage. Do you want to cover that also, or should we end it here? You tell me, right? Because the responses are not coming in thick and fast. I hope all of you are enjoying it. If you want, we can pick up one more passage. That's entirely your choice. I have one more passage. The other passage is again from one of CAT 2018. I am not really sure if it is it, right? Shall we try one more passage? Shall we try one more passage? Okay, good. Let's try one more passage. Okay, let's see. This is from CAT 2018 or 19, not really sure, but I'm sure about the fact that this is an actual CAT question. Let's see. Okay, I'm showing you the passage, so hope you are able to read it. So here we are speaking about a certain thing called the subniveum. What is subniveum? It is the area between the snow and the ground. He calls it subniveum, and he's saying it's a very important ecosystem. And he tells you that it is, quite well insulated. So everybody is read. I hope let's move on to the next slide. So the first paragraph, the first slide was more about introduction of the subniveum. Hope you're reading it. So subniveum was introduced. The importance was was introduced in the first slide. Here he is talking about the organisms living there. If there are disruptions in the temperature, it can lead to death, life and death. And the disruptions are caused by climate change. So the climate change is the main culprit here. Okay, what is the meaning of this word flurry? Flurry means very quick and very hectic activity. Here he is referring to snow, which is snowing very soon, very hectic, but not for long lasting. So here actually he is talking about two factors. The depth of the snow is also important, right? So what is also important is intensity, depth as well as intensity. Density, sorry. So the depth of the snow is important as the density, right? And he also gives you an example. Imagine being under a stack of blankets that are all flattened and pressed together. So the density is also important. I hope you have read it. Okay, read it. I think let's change the slide. This is the third slide. Hope everybody's read it. Okay, so let's quickly change the slide. This is the next slide. I hope you are making you're actually making a mental note of what you're reading, not just memorizing, but understanding as you go ahead. And once we reach the questions, we will get to understand how do we approach it also, right? So one skill which I kept on telling you about was how do we refer to the part which is relevant. You have read the passage, so you should know roughly what to look for, right? You're not going to read the whole passage again when you attempt the questions. I hope all of you have read it. This is the last slide. Let me show you the first question. Hope all of you have read it. Okay. Next slide. Rameshwar, repeat as in what have you, not really sure what you wanted to say, Rameshwar. Do you mean you have read it? Okay, you have read it anyway. Let's see. So, let's see. What is the purpose of this passage? Well, if you notice, if you remember the first 2-3 paragraphs, you will be very easily able to understand the idea, right? Is he introducing you to the subniveum? Is he simply introducing you, or is he telling you the dangers, the threats which are posed to the subniveum because of something called climate change? So what would be the answer? Is it one? No. Is it simply introducing? No. Okay. So Srivatsa says thinks the answer is C. Yes. Suman Kumar also thinks the answer is C. C is the answer. Explain how the subniveum works. He's not concerned about the mechanism. He's more concerned about how is it threatened and how it can actually cause a lot of damage because of a factor called climate change. Right. So answer is C. Right. Now, analogy between blankets and snow. This is only one part which is conveyed. So the best answer is C. Right. Moving on, let's look at the next passage. So everybody got the point. I think the best answer to the question was C. Next question. All of the following statements are true except, so something which will be also specific to details which are given in the passage. All of the following statements are true except. Okay. Snow depth and snow density both influence. This is something which is clearly correct, so this cannot be the answer. Climate change has some positive effects on the subniveum. Do we speak about the threats posed by climate change, or do we speak about are there any positive effects of climate change? This is the answer, right? C is something which we can very clearly see given in the passage. It is in fact given. C is what you find here, right? Look at this. Look at this. The subniveum is so insulated that it holds at steady 32 around, and although at night a constant temperature can be 30 to 40 degrees warmer. This is the part where you can actually find that part. So if you notice, it maintains a steady, this is something which is correct. So this cannot be the answer. So the best answer to this question is B. So many people got it correct, I think. Khushi, Rameshwar, Srivatsa, Suman Kumar and Kashvi, both of you, all of you got the answer correct. Okay, clear. Now look at the third question. Third question is about the overall understanding of the passage. So which of the following actions will be supported by the author? So Gautam Reddy also got the answer correct to the previous question. Good. So that means you more or less understood what the passage is about. Let's look at 3. Which of the following actions would be supported by the author? Okay. Let's look at A. Like I'll give you some time to read it and then I will quickly explain. What is the problem? The problem that is mentioned is the threat to the subniveum. What is the cause, the contributing factor to the problem? Climate change. So, Manoj, Srivatsa think the answer is B. Suman Kumar also thinks the answer is B. Correct, right? The culprit, the major culprit according to the author is climate change. So if you try to curb it, it will definitely halt. It will definitely cause, it will definitely solve the problem. Okay. What is wrong with A? The use of snow machines should ensure snow cover. Snow cover. So when you say at least 8 inches, this is the depth, right? But the author says not only depth, but One more thing was also important, that was density. Density is not at all covered here. You are simply adding a cover of 8 inches. But what about the density? So that density is definitely something which is not addressed here. So one is not, A is not enough. Everybody got the point, I hope. The major culprit is climate change. Okay, all clear? So the answer is B. Look at the next question. I hope everybody got the point. The next question, the author provides the examples of crowberry and alpine azalea to demonstrate that whenever in doubt, just refer to the part which you remember, right, which is relevant, and then we will be very easily able to understand. By the way, when where was the crowberry and alpine? He mentions very clearly. It's in the 6th paragraph. It is very clearly here. Look at this here, right? He mentions this. For example, shrubs such as crowberry. Now, when do you say for example? The main point is here, right? First of all, you will say India is a great country, for example, which means when the moment you say for example, the main point is given here, right? Otherwise, I would not use this context. Just look at it carefully. This is the logical thing, right? You make the point and then you say for example. Why would you say for example if the point has not been made before? So the main point is this: the effects of a colder subniveum are complex. Okay, now let's try to answer this question. Everybody should get this answer correct. So why does he provide the example of crowberry and alpine azalea? To show that the effects of something which can harm the subniveum. It can be very complex. It is not very easy to explain. So what would that be? So the damage to the subniveum is something which is very complex. It is not something which is straightforward. That is what he says. So what should be the answer? Complex is the term, right? He takes this example to prove the fact that the damage to the subniveum is something which is very complex. It is not very easy to understand and therefore to prevent. So what is the best answer? I hope all of you are reading it, right? So Srivatsa thinks the answer is D. Yes, it is correct, right? The stability depends on several factors, making it complex. The key word was complex, remember, right? So if it depends on several factors, it would mean that it is complex, right? So everybody is clear, I hope, right? Do you remember the part which I showed you, right? So Suman Kumar, Srivats got the Manoj also got the answer correct. Shreya, I hope you got the point. See, I'll show you that part again. See, he tells you, for example. What do you mean by for example? He is giving the example of crowberry and alpine azalea, and before that he gives you a point. When do I say for example? When the main point is written right before it. Otherwise, I would not say main point. I would not use the word for example. Clear hai? So the best answer to this question is that it is complex, and complexity is given here. Several interrelated factors. Okay, it's not the number of species which survive that is important. So answer is D. Let's look at the last question. There's another question probably after this. Which of the following statements can be inferred from the passage? What can be inferred from the passage? This is, if you understand this question, you can answer it on the basis of what you have just done now, right? He says it is complex. The key is that, the clue is that. Suman Kumar, the question which you're asking me, the answer is not as it is complex, right? If you develop your reading habits, it will definitely improve your skills. But is it enough to clear the cutoff? That is very difficult to say, because it depends on multiple factors. Number one, I do not know where you are right now, so I do not know how much time will you take, right? So that is one thing. And second, the difficulty level of the exam is something which we do not know yet, right? Third, I do not know how other people are preparing. So in multiple factors are there, right? So what should be the best answer? So I hope you understand. Okay, you understand what I'm trying to tell you, Suman, that yes, the only thing you can do is give it your best, improve your reading habits, right? Best answer to this question is A. Altering one element has a ripple effect on all the others, meaning things are all interrelated. Right. Now, eliminate the other options. Climate change affects temperate and Arctic areas more than. Does the author speak about these things in the passage? No. Equatorial or arid zone के बारे में तो बात ही नहीं करता. The author is only speaking about the subniveum and the effect of climate change on subniveum. So how do we know the effect of climate change on equator or the arid ones? The passage does not tell you that. Okay, so the best answer is A. Right. A compact layer of wool is warmer than a similarly compact layer of goose down. He does not. He only tells you these are two different material, right? And you do not know what the author would be saying about this, right? He only tells you that if something is flattened, right, it is less, if something is flattened, it insulates less, right? But different material, we do not know. Okay, right. And look at D also, it will affect only. The problem is with this word only. As I was telling you, remember, I asked you to, to eliminate the options which are clearly wrong. So the best answer is A, right? Last question for the day, right? So that is the last question. Let's see. In paragraph 1, the author uses blankets as a device too. So why does he take the example of blanket in the first paragraph? If you want, you can read that paragraph again and you can very easily understand. Right. And by the way, you can quickly understand, the fact that if you notice, the theme of the passage, you'll understand he was talking about the importance of the subniveum to the ecosystem and how it is threatened by the climate change, right? So why would he take the example of blankets? Why would he take the example of blankets? Is he okay? Is he, if you notice, is he what is the major reason? Look at this. Right, if you look at the first paragraph again, you will probably be able to answer better. So I hope you have read it. What is the best answer to this question? The best answer to this question is C, right? Right, it is to draw an analogy between blankets and the snowpack. The snowpack is important. It keeps us warm. It keeps the animals warm. Just as a blanket keeps us warm in winter, the snowpack acts like blanket. That is why that is his way of introducing the entire thing. Right now, B. How do we eliminate B? Explain how. Is he concerned about how blankets work, or is he concerned more about the importance of the subniveum, the importance of the snowpack that covers the subniveum? So snowpack covers the subniveum. It is important. Just as a blanket keeps us warm, so does a snowpack keep the subniveum relatively warm, so that animals can survive, and even animals can survive in it. Okay, so the most complete answer is C. So he is trying to remind you, okay, blankets keep us warm in the winter in the same way a snowpack also keeps the subniveum warm, and therefore it makes it inhabitable. I hope everybody got the point, right? If you enjoyed the session, if you're liking it, do not forget to like it, share the session with others, and subscribe to the channel to get to get all these information, right? Okay, so let me quickly tell you about the benefits of subscribing to Gradeup Super. The benefits of subscribing to Gradeup Super. I mean, we have come to the end of the session. I will meet you again tomorrow at the same time, 9 o'clock, with another session on actual RC passages in GAT, and we will discuss it. Right? Okay. Right. Okay. So, what are the advantages of Gradeup Super? The advantage is very simple. If you subscribe to Gradeup Super, you will get access to all the courses which are related to other management entrance exams also. So for example, you could be preparing for multiple exams, so you do not have to enroll again and again. So within your subscription period, if there's any course which opens up, you will be definitely able to understand that, right? So these are the courses. And by the way, before we end, let me quickly tell you a little bit about the faculty who will be taking your classes. You can see their names, you can see the scores which they have achieved in their fields. They are all experts in their relative fields, and these are the people who will be taking your classes, right? So with that, we come to the end of the session. I will meet you again tomorrow, same time, 9 o'clock, where I will discuss again I'll discuss the RC passages with you, right? RC passages taken from the actual exam. So with that, we come to the end of the session. Have a good night, everybody.